Hi guys, it's Toni. Now, as you may remember, last week I got a request from Toni to recreate this blingy wedding gift card box. Well, I did my own and I used all Dollar Tree pieces and I think it came out really great. Toni also had another image of a wedding card box. This was a wedding cake card box that I promised you I'd recreate this week. And you guys must be planning lots of weddings this season because I just got another request from Carolina, or maybe it's pronounced Carolina, for this beautiful wedding card box. So I thought I'd combine the two and give you my own special version. And I think it turned out really nice. So I want to show you how I made this lovely wedding cake card box using mostly pieces that I already had. Now to create this, you're going to need 3 different size boxes. I'm using boxes that I happen to find around the house, but you can buy packing boxes for a few cents each, or even buy cake boxes, but they have to be different sizes so you can stack them up from large to small. I'm centering each box above the box below it, and I'm going to trace around the box so that I know what the positioning is. Then I mark lines about 1/2 inch in from the original line, and I used an X-Acto knife to cut openings in the box. For the bottom piece, I cut a hole in the top. Then I turned the very bottom box over and drew this big H shape so that I could cut flaps in the bottom of the piece and be able to take the cards out when the wedding is over. So you can just put a piece of tape in the middle there until the wedding's over, and you can open up the box by removing the tape. For the middle piece, I cut a hole in the top and I completely cut the bottom off, leaving just the edges so that the middle will be completely open to the bottom box. For the top box, I cut a slit at the top for envelopes to fit through, and the bottom completely open to the other 2 boxes. Now before I put this all together, I just want to test it to make sure an envelope will fit through and go all the way through to the bottom of the box without any obstacles. And it did. Okay, so now it's time to cover my boxes. You can use material for this, or wrapping paper or contact paper, but I saw this textured wallpaper at Walmart and I wanted to try it because the texture sort of reminded me of frosting on a cake. And it was already pre-pasted, so I thought it might be easy to wrap the box with it. This wallpaper was about $14 for a large roll. So I measured and cut out strips for my boxes. I rolled a strip at a time and soaked it in water for 30 seconds. Then I rolled the paper around my box. You will need a sponge to smooth this out. This is actually very wet. I cut the corners and wrapped the box pretty much the same way I would wrap a present. So this was not as easy as I thought because it doesn't stick instantly and it makes the box really wet. You may have to also put some tape inside on the edges. So you might want to consider using material instead. So I had to wait a little while for the boxes with the wallpaper to completely dry. And I'm using a hot glue gun on the bottom edge of the top 2 boxes to glue the pieces together. I'm also putting a little glue around the outside of the seam. I already had leftover diamond wrap ribbon from Dollar Tree, but you're going to need 2 rows of this for this project. I'm cutting a long strand of 2 rows of diamonds so that I can hot glue them around the bottom edge of each box to cover up the seams. I also put diamond wrap around the opening of the card slot. Now next I'm going to use this pretty gold ribbon that I already had. I got this from Dollar Tree. I'm going to try to imitate the ribbon on the picture that my other viewers sent me. I'm just going to use a little hot glue on the corners and around the back to tack the ribbon down. And I'm going to tie a little piece of wire around the ribbon and insert a little cut T-rose. on each piece of the ribbon. Now these are flowers that I already had, but I believe I picked these up at Walmart for less than $1 a bunch. I'm just going to cut the stems and position them where I want them and hot glue them down directly behind the slot opening for the cards. Now I'm going to put a few white roses at the top, cascading down the side and around the back. These white roses I already had in my stash, but you can pick these up at Dollar Tree. In the photo that Toni sent, there were a couple of decorative cards at the top of the cake box. I'm going to make my own decorative sign using this nice sheet of cardstock parchment paper. I'm going to fold it in half and then fold it in half again to make a thicker sign. Then I'm going to just hot glue all the layers together. Next, I'm adding a diamond wrap border on each side. I cut 3 diamond rows for this border, and I put the border on both sides. So you could just print out and slip in a sign to let everyone know that this box is for the wedding cards. Toni and Toni gift cards. Oh, and by the way, my husband's name is Toni also. Now I'm going to just hot glue the corner of this up at the top of the box. And lastly, I added a line of diamonds around the top edge of the box to cover up some more of my seams, and I was finished. So ladies and gentlemen, here's another option for your wedding card box. Now this project was a little bit easier to make than my last one, but it came out just as beautiful. So keep those suggestions coming. If I can find a way to recreate your ideal beautiful home item, I will definitely do it. I just love a challenge. Add me on Snapchat at Your House of Home and Instagram at Your House of Home TV for daily home, food, and gardening tips.